Thank you, Madam President. On February 22nd, 2025, a nightmare turned into reality in York County. A deranged gunman entered into a hospital with an illegally obtained firearm and sought to do major harm to doctors and nurses and support staff and vulnerable patients in the intensive care unit at UPMC Memorial Hospital. The gunman confronted a doctor over his significant other's passing, and with that, he fired 2 shots at the doctor. The doctor quickly alerted ICU staff of the gunman, and the staff went into hiding. The gunman pulled one of the nurses out from under a desk and ordered her to zip tie other staff in the ICU. After firing rounds at medical staff and injuring several personnel, the gunman took a nurse hostage, pointed a gun at her head, and started to make demands. One nurse was able to break free of her zip ties, causing the gunman to point the gun at her head, and he pulled the trigger. 3 times he tried to fire the gun, but by the grace of God, the firearm was out of ammunition. The gunman then left the ICU and entered into the main hospital, approaching the many police officers who had immediately responded to the hostage situation. York County's police showed their true bravery that day. And in the midst of the very worst, our officers rose to be their very best and upheld their oath to protect and serve, to save vulnerable patients in the ICU, to save the hardworking medical staff who work 24/7 to keep patients alive. These police officers, they did not wait. They immediately responded. The gunman with the hostage held at gunpoint wanted to do the most damage, and he instructed the nurse to lead him to where he could find the most people. As the gunman with his hostage moved throughout the hospital, he confronted the police. Our brave officers were waiting with instructions only to engage if they could neutralize the target and not harm the hostage. In mere seconds, the gunman was neutralized. The nurse was unscathed, but 3 of our officers were struck. 1 was fatal. When West York Borough Police Department Officer Andrew Duarte woke up to begin his patrol on that Saturday morning, he probably envisioned it would be like any other day in his law enforcement career that spanned a decade. He nor anyone could have envisioned what would transpire in the hours to come. Officer Duarte had 8 principles that he kept written in a notebook that he tucked away. His mother, Nancy Duarte Matarisi, who is seated with us on the floor today, has shared these principles with us. And they are: I am a warrior. I am part of a team. I will never quit. I will only accept victory. I will only display professionalism at all times. I will conduct myself in a highly ethical manner. I am committed to excellence. I always seek to improve myself. 8 key principles that Officer Duarte lived by and carried with him every day. It was the mission statement of his life that he upheld. The people that Officer Duarte swore an oath to protect and serve were incredibly fortunate to have, as his mom Nancy calls him, an officer of the law with a warrior heart. Upon taking 2 bullets, Officer Duarte immediately ran back to the ICU. On his way, he noticed a fellow officer who was shot in the leg, and he checked on that officer despite his own injury. And in his final moments, those 8 principles were applied. Teamwork, don't quit, only accept victory, display professionalism, be ethical, commit to excellence, and always find ways to find improvement. But above all else, Officer Andrew Duarte showed that he was a warrior with a great heart. As I noted earlier, seated on the floor today is Officer Duarte's mother, Nancy Duarte Matarisi, and her husband, David. Nancy, thank you. All of us in this chamber are either sons or daughters. Some of us are mothers or fathers. We cannot begin to fathom the pain and the grief that you and your family feel. But please know this, your son is a warrior. Many people are still alive because of his quick reaction. A warrior confronts and does not back down from evil. And on February 22nd, your son confronted evil. Your son is a warrior, and he is our hero. Thank you, Madam President.